to share with y'all is a few of my personal experiences with the supernatural paranormal. Some of them I've written about in my book, The Torn Veil Between Us and Them, a supernatural journey through the eyes of a Christian. And then some of the stories might be famous. And some of the stories have been passed down from generation to generation. But what does it matter? Truth, fiction. As long as when you are in that twilight stage right before bed, one of my stories crosses your mind. Be right back. Supernatural experiences seem to run in families. I have aunts and uncles that have experienced many things throughout the years, and my grandparents, my cousins. It seems to be in our blood. Now, I'm sitting here in front of the computer. And I'm going to share with y'all my first supernatural experience. We moved into a small house in the middle of Pasadena. It was a very small house, no bigger than 900 square feet. Nothing happened for a few years after moving into this little house, until I was about 7 years old. I had the front bedroom all to myself. My baby sister, she was in a crib in my parents' room. And my brother, he had the middle bedroom all to himself. I remember having twin beds in the room that was filled with little girl things. Stuffed animals, dolls, books, and my favorite purple lamp that sat on a nightstand beside my bed. I remember the shade of this lamp was like a mushroom, but it put out a glow, a purplish glow around the entire room. I was in my pajamas one night, laying in bed, when I noticed something beside me on the wall. Now keep in mind, I was only about 7 years old. It was a shadow, a very eerie shadow, that scared me so much that I would hide. This little girl that I was would hide underneath the covers. I would peek out from under the covers and stare at the shadow upon the wall. I didn't scream for help from my mother. I just laid there staring at this shadow. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was like a side view. It was like the profile, a perfect profile of the devil himself. It was about probably 12 to 14 inches tall. A very sharp-looking nose, and on the head was horns, and I do recall the shadow was very black. I know all shadows are black, but this particular shadow was extremely pitch black, as it just laid there, set there upon the wall, with its sharp nose, its horns, just staring at me as I lied in bed every night. I started to get used to this shadow upon my wall. It was there every night like clockwork. It scared me so much, but it slowly became normal to me. Now keep in mind, I was just a child. I would start talking to this shadow at night. Should I add I was a very lonely child? I walked around the room trying to figure out what was casting this shadow. I would move dolls around, toys around, anything around to try to figure out where is this shadow coming from. Books, toys, dolls, things that my mother had placed upon shelves, thinking it's something is casting this shadow, but nothing ever was. The shadow was unmovable, and it stayed there for months. And also, I remember whenever I laid my head down on the bed, I would hear as something was poking under the bed, trying to get my attention. One night, I built up the courage to look underneath the bed. Nothing was there. Nothing. But my heart raced within my chest to the point it hurt. But yet I still did not scream for help. And the shadow remained upon the wall. I can still remember it. Why was it there? I have no idea. But when it got to the point, I wasn't so scared of that little shadow, that big shadow actually, anymore. It's like it left, and it never returned. I guess because I wasn't scared of it anymore. Shadows. My cousin lived across the street. My aunt and uncle and my cousins had a house directly across the street. When she was a little girl, she saw a shadow, a very large shadow of the devil in the back of her house, while she sat up on her swing trying to play innocently in her backyard. It frightened her so much that she screamed and ran into the house. I found this very ironic because not a living soul knew about the shadow upon my wall inside my bedroom. In the same house, a few years later, something else supernatural happened. The veil lifted once again as the two worlds become one, and I saw, or rather heard, someone from the other side of that veil. This wasn't long after the shadow had vanished from the wall because I was no longer scared of it. This was in the middle of the night. I could still hear it in my mind after all these years. It wasn't a scary voice, but I didn't recognize the voice. I jumped up from my bed, opened that door, and ran down the dark hallway. My parents' bedroom was in the back of the house. The voice continued calling out my name. Terry. My daddy was snoring. My mom was in dreamland. My baby sister was asleep in her crib. I tiptoed. I turned around and I tiptoed to my brother's room and I peered in. My little brother was fast asleep in his dark room, and there was nobody else in the house. The woman's voice kept calling my name. Terry. Terry. I ran back to my bed, got under the covers, and I asked God, please make it stop. Jesus is scaring me. Even though the voice wasn't threatening, but it just kept calling my name. Years later, I realized I think it was my great-grandmother, Nanny. My granny's mother. She passed away in 1969. I don't remember her, but I believe that my great-grandmother was watching over me from the other side of that veil. One more little short story, if you don't mind, before I go and leave you to your own thoughts and dreams. It's about this statue in front of me. Nobody actually knows if it belonged to my daddy, but they're assuming, because after they found this Indian statue stuck way back in a dark closet after my daddy passed away, they're assuming it belonged to him. But nobody's really sure where it came from. My brother didn't want it. His cat, Max, would hiss at it and back away. They asked me if I wanted it, and I said yes. Because it might have belonged to my daddy. But nobody actually knows how it got back in that closet, or where this statue came from. Is this statue haunted? My brother's cat. I'm getting chills as I'm doing this right now, really bad. My brother's cat. I'm scared of it. But I don't know what to think of this statue. But it is kind of spooky, don't you think? But that's my ghost story. Ghost stories. If you enjoyed these, please comment below. Let me know if you'd like to hear more, because I have plenty more where those came from. After all, you know what they say. A ghost story a day keeps the ghouls away. I don't know where that came from. Until next time, keep on keeping on, and God bless. Like, subscribe, click that little like button, share my video. Have a very blessed day.